Hello students, welcome to second PUC Computer Science class. Last class we had started the first chapter of the Computer Science textbook, that is typical configuration of computer system. So in the last class we had seen about block diagram of the computer system. In this class we will see about motherboard. Before knowing about motherboard, let's first see what's actually there inside the computer. So, you're working with computer from your primary school days, and every time when you go to lab, your teacher says to on the CPU. So, according to you, that black or white box who switch you on to on the computer is CPU. But is it actually CPU? No. That black box or white box which is not actually CPU. Then what is CPU or what is there inside that? Now you can see the same black box which you used to on the computer and which used to call as CPU. In the picture, all the things that is present in the box also you can see. That is processor or CPU, motherboard, power supply, system fan, floppy, heatsink, hard drive, optical drive and RAM modules. So these are the all things which are present inside this box, and CPU is also one thing which is present inside that box. Now let's see what is motherboard. The motherboard is a main circuit board of the computer which contains the CPU, memory, expansion slots, bus, video controller and other electronic components. It is a large printed circuit board. You can see a printed circuit board or PCB board in the picture. It is not a motherboard, but if CPU, memory, expansion slots, bus and other electronic components are mounted in it, then it is called as motherboard. So motherboard is also an PCB board in which all the electronic components are mounted or inserted. So a PCB board having many chips, ports, controllers and other electronic components mounted on it is called motherboard. All the communications in the computer must happen through motherboard only. That can be either directly to the motherboard or through its ports. Various electronic components such as processor, memory chips, interfaces and various ports and all expansion cards are mounted on the motherboard. The motherboard connects all the components of a computer, that is RAM, hard drive, disks, optical drives and all other components are plugged into the interface on the motherboard. So here you can see a motherboard and various other components. So inside this box, the motherboard is placed and all these things are mounted to the motherboard, or all these things are connected to the motherboard. And even the CPU or processor is inserted to the motherboard. Now let's see the characteristics of the motherboard. So the characteristics are form factor, chipset and processor socket. So what is form factor? So form factor refers to the motherboard's geometry, dimensions, arrangement and electrical requirements. So form factor means how the motherboard looks like and how the arrangements of various components are made. So there are various companies that build motherboard. ATX is the common motherboard used for desktops. There are different brands or companies use different way of arrangements, size, etc. So form factor means how the motherboard looks like, how the arrangements of electronic or electrical components are made in the motherboard. It comes under form factor. And what is chipset? The chipset controls the most of the resources of the computer. The chipset will coordinate the data transfer between the various components. Chipset will integrate to the motherboard. So the chipset will be integrated to the motherboard and it cannot be removed. But it can be upgraded to the newer versions. So with the motherboard only, chipset will also come, and we cannot remove that chipset, but we can upgrade the chipset to newer versions. Next is processor socket. So the motherboard will also have a processor socket, and processor socket here, the processor can be inserted or connected. So it is a connector to the processor to connect or to insert the processor. It can be in different shapes. It can be in rectangular shape or it can be in square shapes. Let's see the types of motherboard. There are various types of motherboard. Here are the 4 types. That is XT motherboards, AT motherboards, baby AT motherboards and ATX motherboards. So XT motherboards, it stands for extended technology. These are the old type or old model motherboards. In this, the processor socket is for old model, that is low insertion force sockets are used, and RAM slots are DIMM RAM slots are used and ISA slots are used. And the next is AT motherboard. In the XT motherboard, 12-pin connectors are used, and the example of XT motherboard is Pentium 1, Pentium 2, Pentium Max, etc. AT motherboard, it stands for advanced technology. Here PGA socket is used, SDRAM slots are used, and pin grid array is used, and here 20-pin power connectors are used. And the slots used are for memory, SDRAM is used, and for other PCI and ISA slots are used, and the example is Pentium 3 processor. Baby AT motherboards. It is a combination of XT and AT. That is, it includes both the features of XT and features of AT. So here slot type processor and socket and PGA processor also is used, and for memory SDRAM and DDRAM both slots are used, and for other purpose PCI and ISA slots are used. Here both the 12-pin connector is also available and 20-pin power connector is also available, and all the ports are also available. And the example is Pentium 3 and Pentium 4 processors. Okay. Now ATX motherboard. ATX stands for Advanced Technology Extended Motherboards. These are the latest motherboards. This has MPGA processor sockets, DDRAM slots, PCI slots, AGP slots, primary and secondary IDE interfaces, SATA connectors, 20-pin and 24-pin ATX power connectors and ports are there. The example is all the latest computers or all the latest processors, that is from Pentium 4, dual core, core 2, duo, quad core, i3, i5 and i7. So these are all the processors which include ATX motherboard. It is the latest and presently used motherboard. So we saw about XT, AT, baby AT motherboards and ATX motherboards. So these are the pictures of various motherboards. You can see the latest motherboards and old motherboards. The black ones are the latest motherboards. It is also capable of using for games also. Now let's see the general structure of the motherboard. So here you can see the picture in which all the components of the motherboards are connected to it. You can see various components, that is north bridge, south bridge, ROM, PCI slots, hard drive slots, DRAM slots, memory slots, power connectors, AGP slots, CPU socket, backup battery, and other connectors for peripherals, that is for audio, Ethernet, serial port, USB, for other purposes. Here you can see the schematic diagram of the motherboard. So here the processor or CPU, that is you can see CPU, you can see north bridge, south bridge, you can see memory bus, PCI bus, LPC bus, internal bus, and you can also see flash ROM, that is BIOS, and super IO, that is super input output. It includes various ports and keyboard, mouse, etc. And you can see the memory slots, graphic card slots, PCI slots, and clock generator, high speed graphics bus. So all these things you can see. We'll start with CPU. So here the CPU or the processor will execute the instruction or the task given to it and produce the results. So we know that the CPU will take the input, it will process the data, and it will give the output. We have learned this in previous classes. This is the CPU. It takes the input from the input unit and it processes using ALU, that is arithmetic logic unit, control unit, and using registers. And then it will produce the output to the output unit. For the CPU to process, it takes the data or information from the primary memory. We know that CPU will take the data and information from the primary memory, so that it can be from RAM or from ROM. So primary memory, it can be either RAM or ROM. So from these it will take the input. So from these it will take the data to perform its task. So that is the function of the CPU. Now this movement of data from the processor or CPU and the primary memory or RAM or ROM, this movement is established by some communication path and it is called bus. So you can see memory bus, PCI bus, all those things. That is, memory bus means what? The CPU will ask data from the memory slots and the memory bus will make a communication path to send the data from memory slot to CPU. There are various types of bus you can see in the picture, that is memory bus, PCI bus, LPC bus, internal bus, and other. So you can see north bridge and south bridge also. These are the two chips in the motherboard. This includes core logic chipset. So I told that time the chipset under the characteristics. So these are the two chips which come in motherboard. These chipsets will manage the data communication between the CPU and the motherboard. So whatever communication has to happen under CPU and motherboard, this will be managed by these two chipsets. So any communication between the CPU and the motherboard is managed by the chipsets. North bridge is also called as host bridge or north chipset. This controls the high speed components, that is CPU, RAM, and video card. So which and all components are high speed, that is which work with high speed, these are controlled by or these are managed by the north bridge. So here CPU is the high speed processor, RAM is the one memory which works faster, and video card, it is the fastest working slot. Here north bridge is directly connected to the CPU. So north bridge is directly connected to the CPU, and south bridge or south chipset, it is similar to the north bridge, but it is not directly connected to CPU. It is connected to the north bridge. So the communication or the connection is there to the CPU from south bridge, but between there is a north bridge. It is connected to north bridge, then from there the communication can be done to the CPU. This south bridge, it controls the slower components, that is sound card, net card, hard disk, CD-ROM drive, USB port, CIO, that is SIO, that is super IO, you can see in the picture, and BIOS, that is flash ROM. So these things are controlled by south bridge because they are slow working components. So now let's see the components of the motherboard. So you can see the overview of the motherboard structure. That is how it is connected. CPU is connected, north bridge, south bridge. The south bridge controls all the input and output devices, and the north bridge will control the internal devices, that is graphic card, Ethernet card, RAM chip, etc. Okay. Now let's see the components of the motherboard. So what are the components of motherboard? All the peripherals that is mounted on the motherboard is its components. So processor, BIOS, CMOS, slots, disk controllers, IO ports and interfaces, bus. These are the components of the motherboard. Let's first see the processor or CPU. It is a main component on the motherboard. It is also called as the brain of the computer. We all know that CPU is known as the brain of the computer. We know that CPU consists of ALU, CU and registers. We have studied this in the previous class. That is, ALU performs arithmetic and logic operations. Control unit controls the processing of data. Registers are used by the CPU for temporary memory. So here is the CPU processes the data and sends it to the memory. Clock speed of a CPU. So what is clock speed of a CPU? It is actually the execution speed of the processor. So how fast is a processor? That will be your clock speed. So if the processing speed is high, then the system works faster. You might have heard about system lag or system hang. This is because of the lower clock speed. That is, the processor of the system is slow. When the system processor or the processor of the system is slow, there will be a chance of system lag or system hang. It happens even in mobile phones also. If your system is slow, then your mobile phone hangs or lags. So clock frequency is measured in megahertz and gigahertz, and the CPU's performance is measured as MIPS and BIPS, that is millions of instructions per second and billions of instructions per second. The latest PCs will have the clock speed more than 1 gigabyte. In Windows operating system, we can check the clock frequency and the processor's name in the system properties. Now, how is the CPU actually looks? CPU is a single integrated circuit chip. It is also known as microprocessor. So CPU is a single integrated chip. We say IC chip. So it is a small chip or tiny chip. It is also known as microprocessor. It includes the entire computation engine that is required for the computer. So Intel is the leading processor manufacturing company in the world. And there are other companies also, that is AMD and Celeron. Now let's see the next component, BIOS, that is basic input output system. It is a small chip on the motherboard again. It holds set of instructions to load the hard drives or hardware settings. Hardware settings are required to activate the hardware devices such as keyboards, monitors and disk drives. BIOS works when the computer is switched on. It checks whether the hardware devices are present and are these hardware devices are working properly? The latest PCs will have the flash BIOS. This can be upgraded to latest devices. That is, when the processor is upgraded, flash BIOS can also be upgraded. So it performs power on self-test and it checks whether the hardware devices which are present, whether it is working properly or not. And next is CMOS or complementary metal oxide semiconductor. You can see the CMOS picture. It is a memory chip. So CMOS is a memory chip and it stores date, time and system setup parameters. This will be loaded each time when the computer is started. We have seen when we on the system will display correct time and date. So this is because of CMOS or CMOS. CMOS and BIOS both are maintained by a battery, that is small lithium ion battery. You can see that battery also in the picture. A small lithium ion battery, it is placed in the motherboard and this battery will supply power to BIOS and CMOS. So because of that reason, it will work quickly when the computer is switched on. The next component is slots. A slot is an opening in a computer where you can insert a printed circuit board. So, slots are often called expansion slots because they allow you to expand the capability of a computer. Slot means there are some opening places or opening in the computer where you can insert a printed circuit board or PCB boards. So PCB boards can be either memory cards or processors, CPU. CPU is also a chip, PC cards, game cards. So these are all the PCB boards or they are designed in a PCB board. All the components which are designed through a PCB board, these can be inserted in the slots. So slots are often called expansion slots because they allow you to expand the capability of a computer. These slots, they are inside that box, the black box which we call as CPU. These are inside the box in the motherboard. We cannot insert it simply. A person can go and insert simply. That cannot be done for the slots. Only a computer expert or the hardware engineer only can insert the slots or insert the PCB boards to the slots. By adding the expansion slots or expansion cards to the expansion slots, the features of the motherboard can be modified or upgraded. So there are various types, that is ISA, that is industry standard architecture slot. This is used to connect modems and input devices. So this slot is used to connect modems and input devices. PCI slot, that is peripheral component interconnect. This slot is used to connect graphic accelerator cards, sound cards, SCSI cards. So graphic accelerator cards means these cards are used for gaming purposes. And sound cards for sound, SCSI cards, these are the these cards are used to make the processor work faster. So these are faster than ISA slots. AGP slots, that is accelerated graphic port. So you can insert the graphic card, that is graphic accelerator card here, and you can also insert graphic accelerated card in PCI also. But if you insert in AGP, it works faster and it makes the performance faster and the Visual also will be good. RAM slot. This is used to install the memory. There are two types here, that is SIMM slot and DIMM slots. SIMM slot means single inline memory module and DIMM means dual inline memory module slot. So the SIMM is 72 pin slot and DIMM is 168 pin slot. Next is processor slot. This is to insert the processor or CPU chip. We can identify this slot easily because we can see the system fan or heatsink on top of this slot. So in this slot we can insert our CPU, and we can identify this easily because we can see a fan or a heatsink, and we can see this under the chip under that fan. Next is PCI Express slot. This slot has faster communication capacity compared to AGP and PCI. So compared to AGP slot and PCI slot, the PCI Express slot is faster and it functions same as PCI and AGP. Next is PC card. This slot is used in laptops. So this slot we can find in laptops, not in the desktops. This is to insert Wi-Fi cards, network cards and external modem. Next component is, so okay, here we can see various slots, expansion slots, AGP slots, and here you can see PCI Express slots, PCI slots, AGP slots, and this is the PC card slot and memory slot. So you can see various slots here. So the next component is disk controllers. Disk control, it is a circuit that enables the CPU to communicate with hard disk and floppy disk. So we know that we can insert a hard disk to the CPU, hard disk to the computer, and we can also insert floppy disk to the computer. And after we insert, the processor has to make communication with that. So to make the communication, these controllers are used. So for the hard disk controller, or to make the communication of CPU with the hard disk controller is used, and communication between the CPU and the floppy disk controller is used. And you can see the pictures of both. The first picture is of hard disk controller and the second picture is of floppy disk controller. So in the hard disk controller, the computer can read and write information to the hard disk, and the first hard disk controller is known as ATA, that is Advanced Technology Attachment. And the floppy disk controller, through this the computer can read and write information to the floppy disk. Okay. So this is about disk controllers. Next is I/O ports and interfaces. So ports and interfaces are used to connect external devices. External devices are printers, keyboards, scanners, etc. The ports and interfaces are found on the rear side of the computer. That is, we can view the ports inserted, or we can see the ports inside our black box. So we can see that ports, which we the black box means the one box which we call as CPU. Behind that box or front of the box, we can see the ports where we plug in the mouse connector, or where we insert our mobile charger, or where we insert pen drives. So these ports are called input output ports and interfaces. So here any person can go and insert, but for the slots we cannot see, or we cannot insert just like this. Only a known person who knows about the slots can insert. But in I/O ports, anyone who knows about the device can insert. Like we can go and plug in the printer to the CPU. We can connect the keyboard to the CPU. We can connect scanners. We can connect mouse. We can connect the pen drive, the mobile connectors. So all these can be connected through the ports. So there are various types of ports. So let's see various ports one by one. So these are the various ports and how it is connected in the motherboard. So you can see the PC to mouse port, keyboard port, DVI port, HDMI port, USB ports. So various other ports, that is analog and audio ports. So various ports you can see here. Let's see that one by one. So the first one is serial port. Serial port is also known as COM ports or RS232C ports. So these are the names given to serial ports. This is used to connect mouse and modem. Here the data transfer is done serially, that is 1 bit at a time. And the pins used is either 9-bit pins are used or 20-bit pins are used. And next is parallel port. It is used to connect input-output devices like printers and scanners. Here the data transfer is parallel, that is 1 byte at a time. So in the serial port it is 1 bit at a time, and in the parallel port it is 1 byte at a time. And serial port uses 9-pin ports and 25-pin ports, but the parallel port uses only 25-pin ports. You can see the picture of both serial port and parallel port. You can see the ports and the connectors also. Next is IDE, that is Integrated Digital Electronics Port. You can see the picture. IDE devices like CD-ROM drives or hard disk devices are connected to the motherboard. So here it is used to connect CD-ROMs and hard disk drives. And next is USB. So USB we already know, that is it is used to connect even the mobile phones, and through this port we can connect the pen drives and scanners, digital cameras, webcams, speakers, printers. So all these can be connected through this port. This doesn't require to switch off the computer to connect devices to this port. So to connect any device through USB port, we do not require to switch off the system. For other ports, there is a chance that we have to switch off the system, then we have to connect the port, insert connector to the port, and then we have to on the system. But for the USB port, when the system is on only, you can connect and it shows that the device is added. Next is a PS2 port. That is Personal System 2 port. This is also called as mouse port. This port is commonly used to connect mouse, and here we can also connect keyboards and touchpads also and trackballs. You can see the picture here. And next is AGP. This port is used to connect graphic cards, that is for games and multimedia applications. So you might have heard about graphic cards. If you want your game to view with the good visual, then you have to add a AGP card. Graphic cards should be added. That should be added using AGP port. Next is SCSI ports, that is Small Computer System Interface. This is to add external devices like hard disk, scanner, CD-ROM devices, etc. So it is not like only in one port you can insert one type of device. There are many ports where you can insert different devices and same devices also. But the difference is, in some ports the processing will be fast, in some port the processing will be slow. Here in this SCSI port, the data transfer is very fast. You can insert hard disk in IDE port also, CD-ROM in IDE port also. But compared to IDE port, SCSI port is faster. So here the transfer will be very faster. Transferring the data from CPU to hard disk will be done faster here. Next is VGA port. This is used to connect monitors to a computer's video card. This is done when we require to play games and you want your visual to be with a good clarity. So in such times, we add the monitor to the VGA port so that it concentrates only on the visuals. Next is power connector. So power connector is commonly known. It has a 3 pronged plug and it is inserted to the wall socket to on the system. Next is firewire port. So this port is used to transfer large amount of data at very fast speed. So to connect video equipments and camcorders to the computer. In firewire, the transfer of data is very fast. That is, in this, usually the data transfer will be 1 MB to 4 MB maximum per second. But in firewire port, the data transfer will be 400 MB to 800 MB per second. So normally in a phone or in the system, the data transfer will be maximum 10 MB per second will be there. But if we use the data transfer through firewire port, the data transfer will be 400 MB to 800 MB per second speed of data will be transferred. Next is modem, that is modulator demodulator. This is to connect system's modem to the telephone network. You can see these 3 ports also in the picture. The next is Ethernet port. So Ethernet port, this is used to connect internet to the computer through the Ethernet cable. So you can see in the picture the blue Ethernet cable. It will be inserted to the Ethernet port. Through this we can connect the internet to the system. That is LAN network. Next is game port. This will connect the joystick to the CPU. So before there was game port will be used in the system. But nowadays it is replaced by USB. We can connect the joystick through USB port also. There is no need that we need game port only. Next is DVI. This port is used when the monitor is PCI slot or monitor is flat LCD panel. So to connect LCD panel monitors to the video graphic cards, DVI ports are needed. The next is sockets, that is, it is used to connect the microphones, speakers to the sound card. So to connect the microphones and speakers, we use sockets. You might have done that. You might have connected your earphones to the CPU, and so these ports are known as sockets. Okay. Next is MIDI, that is MIDI, Musical Instrument Digital Interface Port. So this port is used to transmit information between electronic musical instruments. MIDI musical keyboard can be connected to the computer to play music, and this music will be recorded in the system. Various musical instruments can be added to the computer through this port. This is used in music composing, audio recordings and song recordings, etc. So here we can connect the keyboards, piano, flutes and various other musical instruments to the computer, and whatever we play in those musical instruments will be recorded in the computer. So to insert these musical instruments to the computer, we need the ports, that is MIDI input and MIDI output port. So these are used in film industries most, that is to record the audios of the actors or the background audios and for music composing and many other reasons. Even in DJ, musical instrument, digital interface, these devices used. So the last component of the motherboard is bus. A bus is a collection of parallel wires that form a pathway to carry address, data and control signals. Different components of the bus, that is CPU, input output unit and memory unit, are connected to each other by bus. Bus carries data instructions and signals between different components. So did you understand what is bus? So what does the bus do? It carries the address, data and control signals between the various components. So you know one bus which goes in the road and it takes people from one place to another. In the same way, in computer also there is one bus, and what does this bus do? It does some task. The task is, instead of people, it takes the data or address or some signal from one component to another. The bus which goes on the road, it takes people from one place to another. But the bus which is in the computer will take data, address and signal from one component to another. The component can be CPU, memory, input output device, anything. So from CPU to memory, some information has to travel. So it travels on the bus. If the information is data, then it travels in the data bus. If the information is address, then it travels in the address bus. If the information is signal, it travels in the control bus. So same way as the bus which goes in the road, but instead of people, this bus will carry data, address or control. If the data has to travel, it should catch the data bus. If the address has to travel, then address should catch the address bus. If the signal has to travel, then it should catch the control bus. So a bus is a set of wire. Each wire can carry one bit of data. And the width of the bus depends on the number of wires in the bus. And there are two types of bus, that is internal bus and external bus. The internal bus, it connects the major components, that is processor, memory and I/O. The internal bus is also called as system bus. The external bus, it connects the external devices, that is expansion slots, I/O ports, drives to the computer. So this is also called as expansion bus. So the internal bus will connect processor, memory and input output devices. The external bus will connect the external devices, expansion slots, I/O ports, peripherals, drives, etc. So there are three kinds of bus, that is, as I told before, data bus, address bus and control bus. The data bus, as the name says, it transfers the data between the CPU and memory. It consists of 32-bit, 62 and 128 lines of wire. So the data bus can be either 32 wires or of 64 wires or of 128 wires. If the data bus is of 32 wires, lines of wires, then the data is also 32 bits of data can travel. It is like if the bus has 10 seats, then 10 members can travel in that bus. In the same way here, if the data bus has 32 lines of wires, then 32 bits of data can travel. Same way for 64 and 128. And the next is address bus. The address bus, it connects the CPU and RAM. So the data bus, what does it do? It transfers data between CPU and memory. Here the address bus, it will transfer the address instead of data. So in the address bus, address will travel from CPU to RAM. And one more thing is, in the data bus, the CPU can also send the data and the memory can also send the data. CPU can also receive the data, memory can also receive the data. So both things happens. Receiving from the CPU and sending from the CPU, sending from the memory and receiving from the memory. Both happens. But in the address bus, the CPU can only ask for the address, or CPU will send the address to the memory to store. So it will send some address and will say it should be stored in the memory, and the address bus will take that data to the memory and puts it there. That work is done by the address bus. Here two-way communication is not there. There is only a one-way communication. And even here set of lines of wire is similar to data bus. If it is 32, then 32 bits of data. If it is 64, 64 bits of data. Next is control bus. So this control bus, it will control the data and address both. Which means here the control signals are carried from CPU to other components. So in the control bus, again the control bus is a two-way communication. Here the signals can be sent from CPU to memory and CPU to input output devices, from memory to CPU, vice versa. That is the address bus. Okay. Sorry, that is the control bus. Okay. This was about bus. So what I said about bus is, the data bus carries the data from CPU to other components and from other components to CPU. And the address bus carries address from CPU to memory. That is, address of the data is stored in the memory and it can also be sent to input and output devices. The control bus carries the signals from CPU, memory and I/O units to each other. Okay. This is about bus, and this is all about the motherboard, or this is all about the components of the motherboard. We will stop this class here. In the next class, let's know about the remaining portions of the lesson. Thank you.